Hi guys, welcome to the channel. So today we're going to be overclocking the Ryzen 7 5700G. Now what I'm using this, here's the specs that I have. I have a Gigabyte B550 Aorus Pro AC. I'm just using 3200 megahertz of memory, which I will be upping. I'll make some videos on that later. But this is what we're using right now, and no GPU, but I'm going to be overclocking this and doing some benchmarks before the overclock and after the overclock, and we'll see what that looks like. Now I used a camera to record this, to actually record the monitor externally, so that way there was no extra load on the CPU or the integrated graphics, anything like that. So if you're wondering why the quality isn't super great, it's because I actually used a camera to record the monitor to get readings as accurate as possible. Okay, so here we see Cinebench release 20. This is the benchmark. So I'm going to click run. It's going to go through it, and you'll see what the score is, 5376. So this was without overclocking anything. Okay, next up is Heaven Benchmark 4.0. Now this one goes through an extensive process. I have it on high quality settings. Settings are normal for everything else, and it takes it through 26 different scenes. And at the bottom right hand corner you can see the minimum FPS, the maximum FPS, and it takes it through, so it does a full benchmark. So I go through this without overclocking, which is what you see right now. And I actually do this one twice, so I'll show you both of those to see how consistent it is, and then I'll do one with an overclock. So here's the results. So just under 39 FPS, but I'll show you at the end a comparison between this and the overclock. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is load up the BIOS. So restart your computer, keep pressing delete, and I'm using the Gigabyte B550 Aorus Pro AC, so your screen may look a bit different depending on what motherboard you have, but this is what it looks like. So pressing delete, it'll take you to this. If it's on easy mode, change it to advanced mode, and you're going to go to tweaker. Might be a bit different on yours, but you're going to want to find the same settings. So go to tweaker, and we're going to be doing CPU clock ratio. So this is what's going to determine how many gigahertz it's running for all the cores. And we're going to, if you double click this, it doesn't work for me. So for some reason I just click auto, then I press enter, and then it pops up. So we're going to go to 45. And what that means is 4.5 gigahertz. So that's the settings that I'm going to put it on for this one here. So we'll click that, 45, and there we go. Now the next thing we're going to do is the GFX clock frequencies. This is going to have to do with the integrated graphics. So the best settings I found for this was putting it to 2400 megahertz. It's usually running at 2000, so we're bumping it up to 2400 megahertz. So scroll all the way down, and there we go. Now to make this work properly, we also have to adjust the voltage. So we're going to change this, and 1.3 was what worked best, and I didn't have any crashes, anything like this. So 1.3. Now there's advanced CPU settings. We don't need to go into that, but one other big thing for the RAM is extreme memory profile, XMP. Check the two different profiles, profile 2, profile 1, whichever has higher RAM, put it on that one. So 3200 was the best, and that's just basically out of the box best overclocking for the RAM. So put it on that. That's pretty much all we need. There is another menu, AMD overclocking. You could do it through here in an advanced way, but I just went through the tweaker side of things. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna save and exit setup, and Windows is gonna reboot, and let's see how it does. Now, if for some reason it doesn't boot up, then obviously there's some issue. So lower the CPU or lower the GFX, change around the voltage a little bit. But if there's for some reason it's not booting up and it keeps trying to restart, then there is an issue there. So make sure you address it. So the settings work for me, maybe work a little different for you, but try these ones out and see how it does. Okay, so now we're overclocked. We got Windows booted up. We're going to go back into Cinebench and do the same benchmark testing for this one and see what it comes up with. And there we go. So the score is 5816. So it's 500 points higher, just to give you that comparison. So yes, it is doing better. And let's go back to Heaven Benchmark 4.0 and see how that does. Okay, so we're on the exact same settings. We have it on high quality. And let's start the benchmark and see what it does. Now I'll skip through the time here just so that way it makes sense. But let's look at the end and see the results. There, and it has finished. So the score is higher, the FPS is higher, the minimum FPS, the maximum FPS, and now it's not a huge difference, but it is a difference for a couple quick clicks in the BIOS to get more FPS. So that's pretty good. So that's the benchmark for Heaven 4.0, and I'll do a quick little gameplay of Apex, but then I'm going to do some more videos of going more in depth of the different games. Okay, now here's some gameplay just on 1080p low settings for Apex Legends. I was going to do a bunch of comparisons right now, but just to show you some gameplay of what that looks like in Apex Legends. And I was kind of sitting at a weird angle while I made this video so I could have my camera recording the monitor, so it's not the greatest gameplay, but at least it gives you an idea, it gives you a feel for the FPS you can get. 1080p low settings, Apex Legends. And I won't have any commentary through it, but if you want to skip to the end, that's where I'll have a quick summary.
Longbow here.
Let's explore this way.
Attention.
I'm crafting.
Patience.
Heads up.
Attention.
Your package coming in.
New kill leader.
Line deployed.
Activating jump drive. Squad on us. Shooting. I'm down.
Frag out.
I downed an enemy. By an enemy. Reloading.
Giving my shields a recharge.
Reloading. Killed an enemy.
Reloading.
That's left. Enemy down.
Fire, friends. Reloading. A champion just
Now in summary, you can overclock the Ryzen 7 5700G with a couple quick tweaks in the BIOS, and this CPU also loves higher frequency RAM, so that's going to be a video in the future where I'll be doing that, and also adding a GPU at some point as well. But for now, I'm going to keep using this overclocked, and if you have any input, questions, comments, please leave them below, subscribe, leave a like, and we'll see you in the next one.